Today on CultureShop, we're looking at suppliers.
How to find them, what to ask them, what to expect from them, and how best to manage the costs.
From idea to shelf, we'll be talking to some of the best suppliers in the business and getting their advice on how to make the entire process run like a dream.
Welcome to CultureShop.
Suppliers are a buyer's lifeblood, and you live or you die by them. Fantastic suppliers are brilliant and just so good to work with. So I guess it's building those relationships with the suppliers you do want to work with and developing good ways of working, developing effective margins with them and constantly letting them know what you're looking for so they can help you, because although you're a customer of theirs, you need them as much as they need you.
At Beckford Silk, we've really always worked in a way that is a conversation with our customers. Our specialist area is silk scarves, and so our priority for any customer that we work with is to produce something for them that is going to be right for them and for their customer.
I think, again, looking at a range, you want to get the price point right. You're wanting to look at, well, what is your customer, what does your general customer spend? Are they and who are you targeting? Are they children? Are they yummy mummies? Are they, ladies who come for, older ladies who are coming for afternoon tea and everything that's William Morris is there, sort of thing. You have to get that balance right as well. So I think, again, that's where it's important to work with your supplier and say, help me, what should I be producing?
I suppose part of the skills of the design process in this is being able to get into the head of the buyer, to be able to understand what it is that they want to portray, what they want to say to their customers, and to put that down in a visual form so that the designs that we're producing are totally bespoke and totally relevant to that particular organisation and their customer base. And so what we're trying to do is produce as best as possible something that we absolutely know is going to sell.
And I suggest the key thing is not to go in too hard, but to be kind of quite cautious, put together a range which has got enough lines in it to look credible, maybe what I call a capsule range. It's more like a capsule collection of 3 or 4 lines.
You need to have a story. You need to have 2 or 3, 4 or 5 products with the same image. You don't want to just have a product with one image on it. It's not going to tell a story. It's not going to tell the story of your site. People are going to look at it thinking, what is that?
Often when I'm working with a new buyer or a new museum or organisation, they may not have a history of working with this particular product area, so it's going to be something that's completely brand new to them. In the first instance, then, it's important for us to have a conversation. Often I will go and visit them so that I can get a first-hand feel of the space, the environment in which the products are going to be sold, so that then we can sit down and have a really good conversation about what they're hoping to achieve. Part of my job is to guide particularly new buyers on how the process will work and what their contribution needs to be. In the first instance, provide us with as much visual information as they can. They know what is in their collections and they know what's available for them to use.
If you're not sure which image to use, send more images, and it doesn't cost anything to drop those into the templates, and it gives you more of an idea of how the range can sit together. So don't be scared of doing that. Use your suppliers. Explain, perhaps you're a bit nervous about doing this, or what's the best way forward. Talk to the supplier. They're really there to give you advice. So that's what we want to do. We don't want you to produce a product that actually is not good, because it reflects on us in the long run.
I always say to them, don't try and weed things out at this stage. Just give me as much visual stuff as you can, and then let us look at that from our viewpoint, and then we can start to advise them on what we feel would develop well in particular areas, perhaps for a scarf, perhaps for a tie, or even a velvet devore. That's our skill that we can bring to the table, and then from then on, it is really a two-way conversation between us as the products develop.
So you've had these discussions with suppliers, thought about ideas, talked to lots of people about things to make. Now it's just you need to sit down and do all the number crunching and the analysis of that. So when you've done all that number crunching and you've actually come out with a selling price, ask yourself the really tough, hard question: am I going to be able to sell this quantity at that price that I need in order to get to the margin? And if you feel you're not going to be able to, now is the moment to say no and don't go ahead.
But there have been times in the past where we've had to not stock a product because the minimum order quantity will be too high for us. Sometimes we'll be willing to do a carriage paid order to take a lower test amount and see if it works or not before we commit to those larger minimum order quantities. One of the things that works for us again is working with and championing local designers and makers, because they tend to work on very small minimum order quantities because they're all made for you. So there might be a longer lead time, but it means we can place smaller orders. And rather than doing a carriage paid order, they might actually only be a 5-minute walk away and they'll come round and deliver them by hand. And it's great because then we get a personal relationship with them. It makes it a more exciting experience for the customer because we can tell the customer about the maker and who they are and what they're like and where they made it. We did a pop-up shop last year for the London Design Festival that was based around a book called Makers of East London, and part of the branding for the pop-up was to actually tell the customer how far away the maker was from the shop, and every single one of the 18 makers who was involved was from within a 4-mile radius of the museum. So it is a USP that we try to play on about the locality, and that means that we can always have full shelves of interesting products without having to commit to huge quantities. It's not like we're ordering custom-made items where you're looking at the thousands. We're always looking in the hundreds as an absolute maximum.
That is the road I would go down. I would just small order quantities until you're confident that the product is working well for you. And working with suppliers, I think the vital thing is who can allow you to produce small quantities. You don't want to suddenly order of 1,000 of an image. It's an experiment, and because you order 1,000, it's going to cost you less than ordering 100. It's better to pay slightly more ordering 100, and even though the 1,000 price is less expensive, the 100 price is more expensive, but you're only ordering 100. If the product doesn't work, at least you have the opportunity to rethink and reconsider.
Okay, so you've got your plan together of your bespoke ranges. You've decided what you're going to do. You've done all the costings. It's kind of looking like it's going to be a viable range. So you decide to go into productions.
Once you've decided you would like to go ahead and have a look at producing some bespoke product, what we would ask you to do is supply a high-res image or high-res images for us to then drop into our templates. So what we would then supply you with is a visual of how your product could look.
So we'll then develop a design and produce it in paper form, and we'll produce a full-size paper layout, which is then sent to our customer to have a look at.
If you need to present some ideas to a committee, we can do a 3D storyboard, so you will almost see how the finished product would look.
One of the things that's really good with new or ideas that you're thinking about for bespoke product lines is to put some of the visuals and the mock-ups, to have those sitting on your desk and just watch your colleagues' reactions as they walk around the office. And if there's something that they pick up or say, oh, that looks nice, or that looks interesting, it's often a good way just to gauge people's interest, just again from a sort of kind of show and tell, just to get some customer feedback before you actually commit to investing quite a lot of money in product ranges.
At that stage, we're hoping that then we're just any tweaking of the design. It may be that we want to put in a bit more of a border, perhaps a signature needs to be put in, that type of thing. So we're starting to tweak and adjust the artwork.
Once you're happy with those PDFs, the next step would be to produce physical samples, which I think is a great, it's wonderful when you suddenly get those products that you're going to have in your shop in your hands.
So you've got everything signed off with the supplier, you've agreed the delivery date with them, and where delivery date, time is of the essence, I'd suggest strongly to put that onto the order as well, because there's no point in getting goods in 3 weeks later than you actually needed them if you've got a major event or exhibition or something going on. When the order comes in, I'd suggest doing some random quality control checks just to make sure that everything is there, but also that it's actually been printed correctly. And most suppliers are very obliging and helpful if something's not right, because they want to keep your business, so to return the goods back to them. So the next thing is just checking all the barcodes, scan, and then getting the stock out onto the shop floor. And once you've done that, then it's starting to evaluate your sales and hopefully reordering.
The reorders are straightforward. You've done all the hard work. All the detail has been sorted. So really, from a reorder point of view, you place the order and 10 to 12 days later, it's on your doorstep.
Let's get some top tips on getting the best from suppliers from Anne Hopkins at Beckford Silk.
My top tips would be, first of all, dig out all that resource material, get as much visual material together as you can. Double check on things like copyright, make sure that you can actually use it. Plan ahead. These things don't happen overnight. If you want a really good product, then it's going to take some time to develop and produce that, so plan that into your schedule. Trust your supplier. We are there to help. We're there to produce with you as good a product as we possibly can. It's a partnership. And lastly, enjoy it. Enjoy the process. You know, it's fun, it's creative, and you end up with a beautiful thing to sell to your customers.
Next time on Culture Shop, we flick through the guidebook to creating a successful guidebook. Plus, we go on the hunt for next season's trends as we hit the floor of Top Drawer. See you then.